According to the Guinness Book of Records, the person who has stayed awake the longest is named Randy Gardner. He has held the title since 1965. He lived without sleep for about 11 days and 25 minutes. From the first day, his mood worsened. He had trouble memorizing and vocalizing. On the fourth day, he began to suffer from hallucinations. He thought he was a very famous rugby player. However, on the last day, during the press conference he gave, he was energetic and spoke fluently. Studies link poor sleep to hormonal imbalances, leading to obesity, diabetes, and heart problems. The latest study in this regard has been published in the journal Science Translational Medicine a few days ago and concludes that continuously sleeping little or regularly submitting to long periods of wakefulness produces dysfunctions in the performance of our brain that persists even after many hours of rest. In short, not sleeping is bad for your health, and it also makes us dangerous to others. This is exactly what we will be checking out on today's episode: sleep. What exactly does it mean to sleep? What is sleep? Sleep is a biological repairing mechanism. During sleep, our body undergoes a series of repairing functions, which permits it to be in good condition the next day. For example, there are certain functions related to hormones, such as growth, that occur during sleep. There are actually different phases in our sleep process. In the sleep period, we find two stages, called the slow or non-REM sleep phase and the rapid or REM sleep phase. REM stands for rapid eye movements. The non-REM sleep is divided in turn into 4 phases with different characteristics. These phases alternate cyclically while we remain asleep. Approximately every 90-100 minutes, a new sleep cycle begins in which the last 20 or 30 minutes correspond to the REM phase. Phase 1. It is the light sleep phase, in which people are still able to perceive the touch and auditory stimuli. Stage 1 sleep entails little or no rest, muscle tone decreases compared to waking state, and slow eye movements appear. Phase 2. In this phase, the nervous system blocks the access routes of sensory information, which causes a disconnection from the environment and therefore facilitates the activity of sleeping. Here, muscle tone is lower than in Phase 1 and eye movements disappear. Phase 3. It is a deeper sleep, where the sensory block is intensified. If you wake up during this phase, you will feel confused and disoriented. In this phase, there is no dreaming. There is a 10 to 30% decrease in blood pressure and respiratory rate, and growth hormone production is increased. Muscle tone is even lower than in Phase 2, and there are no eye movements. Phase 4. It is the phase of greatest depth of sleep, in which brain activity is slower. Like Phase 3, it is essential for the physical and especially mental recovery of the organism. It is not the typical phase of dreams, but sometimes they can appear in the form of images, lights, and figures without a plotline. REM phase. In this phase, dreams are presented in the form of a narrative with a plotline, even if it is absurd. Brain electrical activity in this phase is rapid. The most typical alterations in this phase are nightmares, REM sleep without atony, and sleep paralysis. Why do you need to sleep? The truth is that we are not alone when it comes to sleeping, although there are big differences. Bears and rodents spend months sleeping during hibernation, while dolphins and other marine mammals can go weeks without sleep. In our case, although it is not known for sure why we sleep, it is clear that we need sleep, mostly because of our brains. While we are awake, neurons make connections between themselves as a result of our experiences. If we have burned ourselves with a hot frying pan, in our brain, we will associate the concept of a frying pan with the pain of the burn, creating a memory and a response that prevents it from happening to us again. This scenario occurs millions of times a day. During sleep, our brain is dedicated to pruning these connections, eliminating those that are not important and reinforcing those that are. Dreams seem to be part of the process, a kind of simulator in which different responses, especially emotional ones, to acquired experiences are rehearsed. New findings indicate that there's also a washing process during the night in which the brain removes neurotoxic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. In the words of neuroscientist Mike Nittergaard of the University of Rochester, it's like throwing a party at home. You can have fun with guests or clean up, but you can't do both at the same time. Sleep is an investment with huge returns? We have too many demands on our time, work and family, not to mention that we want to find time to relax. In order to make everything fit, we sacrifice sleep. Our sleep shouldn't be negotiated because sleep affects both physical and mental health. In essence, it's important for our well-being. However, while one sleeps, not only the mind and body turn off. During the night, internal organs and processes work hard. Sleep maintains all aspects of the body in one way or another. energy and molecular balance, as well as intellectual function, alertness, and mood, explains Dr. Merrill Miller, sleep expert and neuroscientist at the NIH. Sleep helps you think more clearly, have better reflexes, and focus better. The reality is that when we look at someone who has rested well, that person is operating at a different level than those who try to stay with 1 or 2 hours of sleep a night, says Miller. Sleep loss impairs higher levels of reasoning, problem solving, and attention to detail, explains Miller. People who are tired tend to be less productive at work. They are more likely to suffer traffic accidents. Lack of sleep also influences mood, which can affect the way one interacts with others. Sleep deficits, over time, can even increase the risk of depression. However, resting is not only essential for the brain. Rest affects almost every tissue in our body, says Dr. Michael Twerry, an NIH expert on sleep. It affects growth and stress hormones, our immune system, appetite, respiration, blood pressure, and health cardiovascular. Research has shown that the lack of sleep increases heart disease, the danger of obesity, and infections. During the night, your heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure rise and fall, a process that can be important for cardiovascular health. While you sleep, the body releases hormones that help repair cells and control the body's use of energy. These hormonal changes can affect your body weight. Finally, recent studies have found that sleep can affect the effectiveness of vaccinations. Twerry's research showed that people who got a good night's rest and got the flu vaccine developed stronger protection against the disease. How much sleep do you really need? A good night's sleep consists of 4 or 5 sleep cycles. Each cycle includes periods of deep sleep and rapid eye movements, or out-of-sync sleep, when we dream. While personal needs vary, on average, an adult needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Babies generally sleep about 16 hours a day. Young children need about 10 hours of sleep, while teenagers need at least 9 hours. To get the most of the restorative benefits of sleep, it's important to get a full night of quality sleep, says Twerry. Many things can interrupt your sleep. Stimulants, such as caffeine or some medications, can keep you going. Distractions, such as electronic devices, especially the light from televisions, cell phones, tablets, and e-readers, can keep you from falling asleep. Good rest is essential for health. To make each day safe and productive, take steps to make sure you get a good night's sleep on a regular basis. What happens if you don't sleep? There is no data on how long a person can live without sleep. But if we don't sleep, we die, says the doctor. All mammals have to sleep. A laboratory rat usually lives for 3 years and dies in about 2 to 3 weeks without sleep. If you don't sleep, you only live for about 2 to 3 weeks. Why do you find it difficult falling asleep? Do you have insomnia? Many people have trouble falling asleep. The reasons can be many, from medication, hormonal changes, stress, or daily worries. But both daily habits and our diet are a relevant factor for a good night's sleep. What is insomnia? The insomnia is abnormal lack of sleep and difficulty reconciling that suffers at the time corresponding to sleep. But when is it due to sleep? In principle, human beings are designed so that with the arrival of night, our hormonal system begins a series of processes that should lead us to a situation of tranquility that allows us to sleep. But there are situations in which we must sleep, not when it biologically touches us at night, but when we can, as is the case with people who work nights or shifts. It is in these cases that habits are even more important. How do you overcome insomnia? Try to always go to sleep at the same time. This will cause your body to properly interpret the signals to begin the pre-sleep processes. Avoid stressful situations or situations that activate your senses. It depends a lot on each person, but in general, turn off the television screens, computers, phones, tablets at about 2 hours before going to bed if you find it difficult to fall asleep. Don't engage in arguments or situations that upset you before going to bed. So if your child or a family member upsets you, make sure it is in the morning. Get physical exercise. Physical fatigue will help you to enter a sleep situation more easily, and it will be deeper and more restful. But do not put you to do the sports the hours before sleeping, because they can cause the opposite effect. You can practice your favorite sport from first thing in the morning until before dinner time, or even earlier if you feel upset. Take care of your diet. As you already know, diet is related to the quality of sleep. Reduce or completely eliminate excitements such as caffeine or theine. Avoid large meals and those foods that can cause you flatulence. Some people have a hard time digesting lettuce at night. Others have digestion problems with fats, so a low-fat diet may be a good option. There is also evidence that insufficient rest will prevent you from losing weight. If you have doubts, you can go to a dietitian nutritionist to make you a personalized diet. Forget about self-medicating and taking sleeping pills. You must attack the origin of your insomnia and not the consequences of it, because you can enter a loop. You do not have healthy habits, you have trouble sleeping, you self-medicate, and start over. In addition to being able to generate an addiction problem, you can create gastrointestinal problems. Taking a relaxing infusion can be an option for those days when you are more upset. Passion flower, linden, valerian, or melissa are herbs with relaxing properties. And remember that they are only for occasional consumption. You must go to the source of the problem and try not to reduce its symptoms. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Kindly like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Ring the notification bell for more exciting, thought-provoking videos. Bye!